Let's start with that Easter message. How significant is it that the president is now publicly threatening to hit Iran's power plants and bridges, among other things?
Well, I would argue that that message on Easter Day was so unhinged, so blasphemous, so insulting potentially to Islam, that it indicates to me that we're in great peril. The President of the United States is a civilian. The Secretary of Defense is a civilian. Those are the only two people that can give legal orders to the armed forces, not the chairman of the JCS or the Uniformed Chiefs of Services. And we've got a problem. He has lost the horizon. He's unstable. He's angry. He's desperate, I think. He doesn't know a way out of the dilemma he's in. He's run this incredibly successful sea-air campaign, but strategically he's in a box, and he's unstable in the extreme.
Well, explain that when you say generally he's in a box, because again, he's saying if it's not reopened by tomorrow, this would happen. If this were to happen, as he states in that message on Easter, are these potentially war crimes?
Well, they may or may not. You know, that's a debate for the law of warfare. The likelihood is if you can connect it to a military purpose, then it wouldn't be a war crime. If it was clearly targeting the civilian population, as the Russians are doing in Ukraine, then it would be. But I think we need to back off and say, why did he start this war? He articulated, we got to get the Iranian nuclear program under control and stop them from developing a weapon to use against our neighbors or against us. Well, this is a legitimate goal. He's not going to get that if he walks away from this war he started in Iran. He's got the Strait of Hormuz blocked, gigantic economic problem for the global community, to include the United States. He wanted regime change. He didn't get it. We killed 100 some odd senior political and military leaders at the start of the war, but they've been replaced by other hardline forces. So you have to really back off and say, where is he going to go with this? There's no way out. Using air power alone, you cannot open the Strait of Hormuz. You can't end the nuclear program. He's stuck. He doesn't know what to do.
The president right now, General, keeps talking about how soon this will be over. That's what his thing is. From your expertise, are we, the United States, are we closer to the end, or are we really at the beginning of something bigger?
I think Trump is bluffing. I don't think we're going to stay in this very long. It's politically devastating to his standing in the polls. Midterm elections are coming up. It's hitting us economically. He's ended our relationships with almost all of our allies, to include the Gulf Coast states and the Europeans. So I think he's got to throw in the towel at some point. I hope and by the way, the Iranians are desperate also. There's no question about it. Their economy was in a trash can before this war started. They can't deliver water reliably to their urban centers. So they should want a way out. But the trouble is we're dealing with the IRGC, this 190,000-man terrorist group whose primary purpose is to control the Iranian people. They killed 30,000 or more citizens in the uprising a few weeks ago. They're still firmly in charge. So we could hope in the coming short period that both sides will say we got to get a ceasefire at a minimum.
You listen to the voice of retired four-star General Barry McCaffrey here on the Gee and Ursula Show. And General, you just said that, that the bluffing and the potential of maybe wanting to get out of this. Let's just say that there is an exit for Trump. What would be the best case scenario of that exit, and what would it look like for everyone involved if the president wants to take an exit off of being done with this?
Well, I don't think there's a good outcome coming from this war now or in the future. At the end of the day, Iran will remain an implacable enemy of Israel and the United States. There's also the great Shia-Sunni Muslim divide, where the Persians, the Iranians, are Shiite, and much of the Middle East are Sunni Muslim. That's not going to go away. And I don't think we're going to get the Iranian nuclear program under control. The only way you can do that is with inspectors on the ground. That means the Iranians have to sign some kind of an agreement and let people from the AEIA into Iran again with robust rules of inspection. So I think this is really a broken play. Several thousand Iranians have been killed. This is a huge deployment of the U.S. Armed Forces, perhaps 60,000 people. And Trump, by the way, is on the verge of trying to use ground combat power to open the Gulf. I don't think we can do that. The Marines and the brigade of the 82nd Airborne that are there would be happy to try and take all three of those islands down near the mouth of the straits. But that's not going to stop the Iranians from interdicting with cruise and ballistic missiles, slow-moving tankers in the Persian Gulf. So Trump got himself into a real box on this one, and us with it, I might add.
This is retired four-star General Barry McCaffrey here on the Gee and Ursula Show. Now, the president is going to be holding a news conference at 10 o'clock our time. We are expecting to take at least part of that live. There is reportedly a peace proposal by mediators in Pakistan that it does include a 45-day ceasefire and the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. Have you heard much about that?
Yeah, and it's a positive step, and it's an attempt not just on the part of the Pakistanis who are taking the lead, but also Turkey and Egypt in particular. Trump would be well advised to take some aspect of this proposal or all of it. Again, the U.S. Armed Forces have the capacity to carry out all sorts of continuing operations with precision munitions. But that's not going to achieve his strategic aim, which presumably was end the nuclear program, take away their ability with ballistic missiles to threaten the Middle East, and a regime change. So he's stuck. I hope he takes this way out.
General, we did see a high-risk U.S. rescue mission inside Iran, and it was successful, thankfully. What does that tell you about how close U.S. forces are to the direct conflict right now?
Well, it was a magnificent operation, no question about it. A combination of CIA, just JSOC, the Tier 1 commandos, Army Delta Force, the Army Aviation Regiment that supports special missions. It was expensive. But again, it raises the point of the political nature of this war. In Vietnam, we lost 3,700 plus fixed-wing aircraft and 4,000 helicopters. But in this case, one pilot missing, which thankfully we recovered him, would have turned into a huge political hostage. So again, the support for the war in the country isn't there, and it's going to get worse. Trump's got to break out of this. By the way, the thing that bothers me is he's unhinged. That tweet message he sent out, if that'd been some lieutenant colonel in the Pentagon, we would have literally walked him out of the building and sent him over to Walter Reed. I don't know what's going on with poor Mr. Trump, but it's a real unsettling condition we're in.
General, in 2015, I believe it was, President Barack Obama had a deal in place with Iran. And then in 2018, it was then President Trump pulled us out of that deal with Iran. Then last year in 2025, there was everything happening, and they, according to them, eliminated all of the capacity for nuclear capabilities for Iran. General, can you help me better understand, the timeline and everything and why they pulled out of that deal with Iran in the first place and now where we are today?
Well, there's a serious debate about the validity of the deal that President Obama signed.
Okay.
It was the best deal we could get for sure, and it prevented a war probably for coming 10 years. At some point, Iran was going to go nuclear successfully under that deal. And it did eliminate a lot of the economic constraints on them. We did fly in literally plane loads of $100 bills. Mm-hmm. Now, having said that, there's almost no alternative to war that isn't better than going in with military power and trying to solve this problem. That's just simply not going to happen. So Trump, there's no longer a national security process where wise women and men with experience in government debate the consequences of various options. What we've got is poor Mr. Trump, policy by whim, decisions by dictate, and it's not going very well for him. There's something gone badly wrong with Mr. Trump. He's surrounded by sycophants. His cabinet officers, in many cases, are the worst people imaginable in our society. I mean, the Secretary of Defense, Hegseth, is volatile, chaotic situation. He's fired 20 some odd senior officers with great experience. This is a bad crew we got in office now.
General, what is one thing that you're concerned with over the next 7 days? Is there any move or anything that's happening that you are the most concerned about?
Well, I think, look, there's a tactical problem. Trump's put another 10,000 combat troops into the Middle East. That's not a lot, by the way. If we wanted to take down Iran, we'd do it with 250,000 troops. We could do that. Very bad idea. But I think there's a lot of discussion about grabbing Kark Island and how that will put us economically with a chokehold on the Iranians. If we go after Kark Island, 400 miles from the Strait of Hormuz, we'll be on the verge of suffering a military disaster. Those Marines have got to go up there in giant amphibious ships and come across the beach. The 82nd Airborne's going to parachute into a gas station 15 miles off the coast of Iran. So I think he's toying with that idea. It's a bad idea. Even worse idea would be telling the armed forces, go seize the fissile material in Iran. There's around 1,000 pounds of highly enriched uranium, bomb grade within a week. There's another 5 tons or so of other fissile material. If we went in to seize it, most of them are at Natanz and Esfahan. It's far back from the coast. My guess would be you'd put a division minus 10,000 troops on the ground. You'd be there for days with engineering units trying to recover this. The only reliable way to stop the program, again, is arms control inspectors on the ground and force the Iranians with reward and punishment to pledging not to go nuclear.
General, with the last couple minutes that we have right now, what would be, I mean, it's bleak. What you've described is bleak. What's already happened is there's been loss. But what would be the best case scenario moving forward? If you could say this would be the one thing, the best thing that we could do right now, what would that be?
A ceasefire. Every time you stop shooting, things will get better. You're never going to solve this problem with military power at the end of the day. It's highly unlikely that the Iranian people in the short run can rise up and pull out of office these murderous brutes that are running Iran. But if we could get a ceasefire and time to get the U.S. and Iran to consider talking through the options, that could go on for 10 years and it would be better than continuing combat operations.